Okay, so editing for spelling and grammar, this one is a very interesting passage. I was going through BBC and I came across it, so I thought I would share it with you guys. Now, question 1, right, guys, take note that you see these 2 commas here. Okay, so 1 comma here, 1 comma here. I've spoken of this rule before in English, whereby if you have 2 commas, you cannot use simple past tense, you must use the continuous form. So your answer has to be taking and nothing else. Okay, the rule, in case you're wondering what rule this is your verb formation rule. Okay, it's not a tenses thing, it is how you form your verb based on certain aspects in the sentence. So because of 2 commas, you need to use the continuous form, the ing form. Okay, number 2, if you're talking about an action and you're talking about describing an action, you must use an adverb. Okay, so this rule is known as your parts of speech rule, whereby you don't just simple walk into the woods, you simply walk into the woods. Okay, so this is your answer, parts of speech. Then obviously emerge, don't need to think about it so much. I'm sure actually all of you know the spelling, just sometimes you can get confused. I have a tip for you guys when it comes to spelling. My tip is always the same thing. Try writing out the word in as many ways as possible. That means if you want to, for example, write out I-M-E-R-G-E, do so. If you want to write out E-M-M-E-R-G-E, do so. Okay, so just write it out as many times as possible, and subconsciously, you will go for the correct spelling. That is, honestly, is the only way for you to get spelling questions right. I'm sure your teachers tell you to do this as well. Okay, it's really a tried and tested method. I've always had an issue with spelling, so in exams, I would do this quite a bit, and obviously in the end, I would do well because I would just do a lot of working on the side of my worksheet. Okay, so you need to do the same thing. Okay, so deliberately is quite a tough word for you to spell properly, but I feel that sometimes this comes out quite a bit in editing, so you really must take note of how to spell this word. Use it in your essay if you would like to. Instead of using the word purposely, if you use deliberately, the spelling will come naturally to you. Okay, so this is how you spell it. Now, question 5 is a prepositions question, first of all. Okay, so I'm writing down the rule. Take note, right, guys, that when it comes to questions like this, where they underline small words like on, I want to share important tips with you guys. Okay, so this is a trend that I've noticed many times whenever I look at editing questions. The trend is this, okay, when they underline the word on, usually they will expect you to put one of these 2 answers as the answer. Sorry, one of these 2 words as your answer. So typically what I'm saying is that if they give you this word, you should look at picking your answer from the same group of words here. Okay, very rarely will they expect you to put the word off when they underline the word on. It's just something that I've analyzed and sort of understood over the years. But having said this, right, guys, making it easier for you is one thing, sure. But having said this, sometimes it is not the case. But this is like 90% of the time is what I've noticed. Okay, so same thing. If you are given the word off, right, they underline the word off for you guys, most likely one of these other 2 words will be your answer. Okay, so pick wisely from that group of words. The reason I'm running through this is because I want to narrow down what kind of answer you can choose to put in your box. Okay, because prepositions is usually the toughest editing question that can come out. So you must sort of have some advantages. So this is at least something that I can share with you guys, okay? One more rule of the thumb is this word. Sometimes if they give you the word by, you're expected to change it to the word through because they're pretty similar in that sense as well. Okay, so take note of that. Ken? Okay, so let's look at the next word. This is obviously stretched, it's a spelling word. Okay, so in case you're wondering, right, this word tarpaulin is pronounced as tarpaulin. If you're wondering what it is you can't quite picture in your head, first of all, I've given you the definition here. Tarpaulin is a heavy waterproof cloth that's used to cover stuff. If you still cannot quite picture what it is, the closest thing that comes to your understanding would be, for example, if you go to a beach or you go to botanic gardens for a picnic, your parents spread out something called a ground sheet. So a ground sheet is very similar in terms of makeup to a tarpaulin. Okay, so that's pretty much what a tarpaulin is. Okay, then let's take a look at question 7. So although it's a connector of contrast, most likely you're looking to pick another connector of contrast, which would be the word despite. Okay, so again, they actually follow similar rules in the sense that if you are given a connector of contrast and you need to pick another connector, it would technically be from the same group. They don't cross connectors. Okay, what I mean by this is, for example, they won't make you pick a connector of addition, they won't make you pick a connector of sequence, or for example, a connector of time. None of this. Okay, so it's usually the same group connector of contrast. Okay, so that would be another tip that I can give you guys.